Don't scare them. So I think Sean asked how we deal with the mud. It sucks. We're not the best at it. We could do better. In terms of cows, we have separated mama cows here and wean calves, which are on corn stubble. So the corn stubble helps a lot. It doesn't get near as muddy. But this pasture right here, farms tend to have like what's called a sacrifice pasture. For us, it's the closest pasture to where the hay is stored and the barn. So they're close to water, and it's the easiest place for us to put hay out, just so that we are making less of a mud mess and tracking up all the fields and stuff as little as possible. Unfortunately, I don't know that there's any way, unless everyone could be inside all winter, which isn't possible for us, to avoid the mud. It's really just a nightmare. We've had a really mild winter this year, so it's only been frozen enough to really freeze the ground so that the ground is frozen and we don't track everything up a few times. We've just had a lot of precipitation. It doesn't really have anywhere to go because the ground is saturated, the rivers are pretty full, and so it just sits there and we get mud. In this sacrifice pasture, the cows are out here in this muddy pasture. They do though have the chance to go and lay in the barn. There's a shed that they can get in out of the weather and lay down and dry straw. So they're not out here in the mud all the time, but honestly, I don't think it really bothers them. They don't seem to have any problems. So these are the wean calves I was talking about. This was a cornfield that was harvested in the fall, and because there is a lot of residue, there's a lot of stalk and plant material left over when you combine corn. That leaves a lot on the ground, so it doesn't get near as muddy. Are you talking to Charlie? He's coming. That's who you're watching, huh? The mud is definitely an ongoing battle. But as you can see, with all that corn stubble that's out there, other than right here along the fence where they walk and down here where they get their grain and where we come in with the tractor to set out hay, it's not muddy at all for these guys. They have it pretty good. Charlie, I think the calves are interested in you. They like to watch you. On the sheep side of things, the mud is not as bad. We're trying to stay in the same tracks. Because we are blessed to farm with Levi's dad and we borrow a lot of his equipment, we drive on the road because the sheep are not at the same farm that the tractors are all kept at. So we drive on the road to stay out of the fields and not track up as much mud, but still when we get over to Rocky Knob, getting the hay out and then getting it into the barn, we just try to stay on the same track and not get stuck, really. Just asking Levi the other day if we knew someone that had a roller we could use when spring finally comes, because right now I'm standing in the parking lot for strawberry season, and it is really bumpy. It's a mess. So we will hopefully borrow a roller and get it all cleaned up before strawberry season gets here. Don't mind our metal pile that needs taken to the scrapyard. That's still from redoing the high tunnel. So these are our tracks to get into the barn. We try to stay in the same track so we don't tear everything up, and the mud just sucks, but I don't really think there's anywhere around it. Are you coming? He's shaking his head no.